The Ofuda no Ie, or House of Talismans, was a well-known haunted location in Kurashiki City, Okayama Prefecture. It stood on the slopes of Mount Yuga, surrounded by dense bamboo forests. The site was famous among urban explorers and paranormal enthusiasts for the hundreds of paper talismans, or ofuda, that once covered its interior walls. These talismans, used in Shinto and folk beliefs to ward off evil spirits, gave the house its name. According to local rumors, the house was once the scene of a tragic incident that resulted in the death of an entire family, after which reports of supernatural activity began to spread. In an attempt to calm the supposed spirits or protect future visitors, religious charms and paper streamers known as shide were affixed throughout the building. Some of the talismans bore the names of Shinto deities, such as Okuni Nushi, a god associated with healing and protection. The presence of these items suggested that purification rituals or even exorcisms may have been performed at the site. The structure itself was a traditional Japanese wooden home that had fallen into severe decay. The roof and upper floor had partially collapsed, and many of the rooms were unsafe to enter. A sight possibly more disturbing than all the talismans is perhaps what's inside the barn. Located behind the main building, it contained several long wooden chests that are often mistaken for coffins. A small locked storehouse and a moss-covered shrine were also located nearby, adding to the site's incredibly eerie atmosphere. Some researchers and visitors speculate that the property might have been connected to the Tenshikyo, a minor religious sect. This is based on inscriptions found on certain talismans that read Tenchi-okami. Others believe there could have been two versions of the Ofuda house in the area, one accessible to curious explorers and another hidden deeper in the forest. However, no conclusive evidence supports these claims. Now, this house was later demolished, and only photographs and written accounts now remain. Despite its destruction, the Ofuda no Ie continues to be remembered as one of Okayama Prefecture's most infamous haunted ruins, and all of the rumors surrounding it, including that supposed family tragedy, still circulate online today. Hashima Island, known as Gunkanjima or Battleship Island, is a small abandoned island off the coast of Nagasaki. Once a thriving coal mining facility owned by Mitsubishi, the island was home to thousands of workers and their families crammed into the tall concrete apartment blocks. In the 1950s, it was one of the most densely populated places in the world. But when Japan began transitioning from coal to oil, the mine closed, and by 1974, everyone had left, and what remained was a ghostly shell of the island's former life. Cracked buildings, rusting metal, and rooms still filled with forgotten belongings. Over the years, Hashima's eerie appearance and tragic past have made it one of Japan's most infamous haunted sites. Locals and visitors alike often speak of uneasy feelings when setting foot onto the island. Many describe hearing footsteps echoing through the hollow corridors, or faint voices carried by the ocean wind. Some say that shadows seem to move in the corners of empty rooms, and others claim to have seen translucent figures watching from broken windows. The sound of creaking steel and the crash of waves against the seawall only heighten the sense of dread and fear. Part of the island's ghostly reputation comes from its history during World War II, when forced laborers from Korea and China were brought to work in the mines under brutal and inhumane conditions. Many are said to have died from exhaustion, accident, or even malnutrition. Some stories claim that their spirits still linger underground, trapped within the tunnels that now lie flooded and sealed. A few divers who have explored the lower levels report feeling sudden chills or hearing muffled cries deep within the waterlogged shafts, as if somebody's drowning and begging for help. These tales, whether real or imagined, have fueled the belief that Hashima is cursed. Even after being open for limited tourism in 2009, many visitors refuse to stay for long. The air feels heavy and the silence between the crashing waves is very unsettling. And it's not just that. The remains of the concrete apartments and the decaying walkways that twist into places where light barely reaches are also quite disturbing. Tour guides that take you on tours of Hashima Island often warn people to not wander off alone or touch anything inside these structures, not only because of safety risks, but because of the island's strange and lingering energy. Though it is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a symbol of Japan's industrial past, Hashima Island continues to be remembered not just for its history. It stands frozen in time away from the mainland, and yet the tension of its presence still remains. This is Hotel Celine. From the outside, it looks like any abandoned building, slowly being consumed by time. But once pictures of the place began to circulate online, people saw beyond the appearance itself, seeing something potentially much more sinister, especially in the repeated crude drawings of a pregnant woman and the dialogue next to it seen throughout the building. These words next to these drawings being incredibly disturbing, often threatening, and including various phone numbers. These images were initially shared on social media and abandoned location-centric Japanese forums, which made the building seem even more ominous than it would have on its own. Rumors began to spread as well, with some claiming the hotel was the site of a gruesome Yakuza-related crime involving the pregnant woman herself, the one featured in the drawings, and that the hotel swiftly closed in the early 80s after this infamous crime had occurred. Many local blogs, Haikyuu pages, and YouTube videos repeat two clusters of common rumors. The first being violent incidents, including the murder of a homeless person in the hotel parking lot, and also the horrible incident involving the pregnant woman, also resulting in her passing. And then there's talks of a supernatural curse, one attached to these drawings and the spirit of the deceased pregnant woman, as well as her unborn child. One common claim is that photographing a set number of the drawings in a specific order will trigger some kind of paranormal event. Over time, it was discovered that the same pregnant woman image had appeared at other abandoned places across Niigata and Nagano. Later photos showed this same kind of drawing in empty barns, public restrooms, and parts of another abandoned hospital. Because the same drawing keeps showing up in different spots and not just at Hotel Celine, it suggested that this is likely a person or small group traveling around and copying the design, or that copycats are repeating this image after seeing the pictures online or within the hotel itself. This pattern is curious and could potentially point to the artist of these drawings just being some kind of prankster, but we really don't know. Eventually, property documents for Hotel Celine were uncovered as well, and it was discovered that the building was built in 1981, and that bankruptcy paperwork was filed in 1998. Those facts don't really match the early claims that the hotel had closed back in the 80s. And those phone numbers painted near the graffiti use the Niigata area code, 0258. So the person who made these drawings might be from across the prefectural border. Older phone directories and public listings were combed to see if the numbers matched any names. But the searches produced mixed results and did not clearly identify a single person or business or group connected to the graffiti. Older phone directories and public listings were combed to see if the numbers matched any names, but the searches produced mixed results and did not clearly identify a single person connected to the graffiti. All of that aside, those who visit this location still swear that there's something off about it, and potentially something nefarious within it. These infamous images continue to circulate online, and more photos have emerged in the years since it was first discussed. No confirmed connection to murder or Yakuza activity has been found when looking into the mysterious Hotel Celine. The graffiti could very well be the work of pranksters, copycats, or an artistically driven group, and not proof of a crime tied to that specific hotel. Still though, the story of Hotel Celine continues to leave a powerful impression, especially when looking at these images, despite the fact that public records and careful searching does not back up the darker rumors and claims. By the way, most of the research on this was done by Japanese blogger and YouTuber VTUBER, who has both a video and blog post on the topic. I highly recommend reading and watching those to learn more about this. Kudura Sanso was a former psychiatric care facility located in Hachinohe, Aomori Prefecture. Originally established as a therapeutic retreat for patients, the facility focused on art therapy and occupational therapy rather than intensive medication or physical restraints. Patients created a variety of unique sculptures, many of which remained on the grounds after the facility was abandoned, creating almost an eerie atmosphere as the building and surrounding area decayed. The abandoned property gained nationwide attention as a haunted location due to its remote forested setting, the presence of those unusual sculptures, as well as rumors regarding the spirits of former patients dwelling there. Urban legends surrounding this place exist, suggesting that there are patients who had received cruel treatment and ultimately passed on there, and now wander the grounds as restless ghosts. Although existing records indicate the facility avoided such mistreatment and did not employ harsh methods, nothing can truly be confirmed. The main building, which could not be freely accessed due to security measures, was accompanied by several smaller abandoned structures. Some of these buildings contained workspaces where patients had produced artistic creations, while others, including a building with a bathhouse, had fallen into ruin with overgrown vegetation and decayed interiors. The site also included decorative elements such as archways, statues, and stone slabs with stylized designs. This type of architecture is not common in Japan, especially rural Japan, which further leads to its unsettling ambiance. Now, the name Kudura Sanso derives from the Buddhist mythological figure Garuda, or Kudura in Japanese. There are many local myths associating this name with a car, and that's because a vintage Toyota Corolla, which sounds similar to Kudura, is seen decaying at the front of the sanatorium. A lot of interesting imagery was seen throughout the property, including a reoccurring butterfly motif, which was used throughout the site to represent transformation and hope for the patients, as well as Aztec-style stone slabs. The purpose for the Aztec imagery remains unclear. However, that butterfly motif links the facility to its parent institution, Seinan Hospital, whose director had founded Kudura Sanso. Now, by 2022, the buildings and sculptures have been completely dismantled, leaving the site cleared of its original structures. However, the rumors still remain, especially one lingering rumor, claiming that the bodies of the deceased who had passed on at Kudura Sanso are buried on this property and still remain there. To this very day, the Kudura Sanso or Kudura Villa, or rather the land it once stood upon, remains an infamous ghost spot in the area. The Prime Minister's official residence of Japan, located in Tokyo's Nagata-cho district, is a historic building with a reputation for being haunted. Constructed in 1929, the two-story stone and brick mansion was initially built as the Prime Minister's office. Its Art Deco design symbolized Japan's transition to modernism in the early 20th century. Inspired by the architectural style of the Imperial Hotel, designed by American architect Frank Lloyd Wright. This building has been the site of numerous tumultuous events in Japanese political history. In 1932, then Prime Minister Tsuyoshi Inukai was assassinated in the building by young naval officers during a coup attempt. 4 years later, then Prime Minister Keisuke Okada narrowly escaped assassination by hiding in a closet, though 5 people were murdered during this rebellion, once again in the same residence. A bullet hole near one of the entrance doors remains as a reminder of these grim events. After decades of wear, the building underwent renovations completed in 2005. The Japanese government spent approximately $8.6 billion to restore the mansion to its former grandeur, while modernizing it into a livable space for prime ministers, because it is still tradition for the Prime Minister of Japan to reside in this very home. And since 1929, the residence has officially served as the Prime Minister's home. However, it has long been associated with many ghost stories. These rumors stem primarily from its violent history. Former Prime Minister Tsutomu Hata's wife, Yasuko Hata, recounted eerie experiences during her time at the residence in a 1986 memoir. She described feeling an eerie and oppressive presence and claimed that military officers' apparitions had been sighted in the garden during the night. Yoshiro Mori, another former prime minister, reportedly told Shinzo Abe that he had encountered ghosts within the residence as well. Despite these accounts, government officials have repeatedly dismissed the rumors. In 2013, during Shinzo Abe's second tenure as prime minister, the government issued a formal denial of any knowledge of hauntings after questions arose over Abe's decision to not reside in the official residence. Akeno Theater was a former strip theater in Chikusei, Ibaraki Prefecture that later became one of the region's most talked about haunted locations. Built during Japan's post-war boom in the late 1960s, it was once a lively venue for live adult performances and shows. Following its closure in 1995, the site gained a dark reputation, drawing urban explorers and ghost hunters intrigued by its eerie remains and unsettling atmosphere. The theater originally began as a small community playhouse before converting into a more adult venue. During its golden years, it hosted famous performers such as Seiyori Ichijo and Kyoko Aizume. This attracted large crowds. The building's unique circular stage, known as the Debeso, allowed audiences to watch from all sides. But when business declined in the early 90s, the once crowded theater grew quiet and was eventually forced to close after a police raid in 1994. Only months later, in January of 1995, the abandoned building mysteriously caught fire and was almost completely destroyed. The cause of the blaze was never officially determined. The building's burnt shell, blackened stage, and half-melted lights remained standing for decades. And while it truly isn't known how this fire started, many suspect it was an act of vandalism. Locals began calling it Kurogogeta Eros, the burned Eros. There's also a rumor that an individual had passed away in this fire, though this has not been confirmed. In the years that followed, Akeno Theater became famous online through haikyo blogs and ghost hunting forums. Visitors reported hearing faint music echoing through the halls, sudden drops in temperature, and even seeing flickering lights where the stage once stood, despite these same lights being the ones that were melted in the 1995 fire. Some urban explorers claim to sense a woman's presence, believed to be the spirit of a dancer who had once performed there. Whether these stories were real or imagined, they helped cement Akeno's theater's status as a haunted landmark in the area. Photographs from the site are rather chilling. You can see the decay, but you can also see what it probably looked like in its heyday. Many of those urban explorers who visited said the air inside felt thick, as if the building itself was holding on to some kind of memories or the performances, or maybe even the energy of the audience. For nearly 30 years, this structure stood. Or rather, what was left of it had stood. But in early 2023, the theater was finally demolished. The grounds were cleared and replaced with a solar power facility, erasing all physical evidence of its existence. Still, for some in Japan's online paranormal communities, the legend of Akeno Theater still lives on. And like many other former ghost spots that no longer exist, its story continues to circulate in blogs, forums, and videos.
Huge thank you to Miles Roberts, Baffy, Joseph Guerrero, House Harkonnen, Betty Ferrardo, Creature Feature, Alex Heaven and Chow Bao, Buddy Kitcher, Squidgis, Joshua Fain, Nobody Was Found, Nick Stuckenborg, Rambo Rao, Andrew Pashka, Justin Wren, Night Tripper, William Baker, Javier Arajo, Jamil Oliver, Tareen Gales, Disco Yeti, I'm Just a Cop, Pocky, Monty Pla, Misato Sumemasa, Mugen, Gero R, Rachel J, Vanessa, Raglan Strom, Ellipsis, Hannah Timberjack, Erlyn Kniflot, Connor McLaughlin, Jordan May, Shelfie, Stephen Bride, Creepy Leanie, Gina Britton, Lucille Brown, Pigpen, Lizard Queen 27, Newt Newt Fruit Shoot, Hexmania Kana, Chitoge, Jeremiah BLR 322-32232, Dora Morasso, Ellie L, Flo Ami, Meek, Sidnep, Hosea DeRoca, Akeli, Red Hoodie 50, Kata Caesar, Iggs, C Chameleon, Digital Dub, Shivam Vashi, Pan Fried Life Jacket Awareness, Stadio VGM, Negra J Reese, Argua Bill, Christopher Valencia, PB Pasca Tag, Andrew LaPena, Mads House, Airfire, Grand Tactician Soko, and Bishonen Knife. Once again, thank you so much everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now!